All right, guys, we are live for the American Express tournament. Got a little bit of a new look going for kind of the live stream here. Do want to apologize. Got off to a little bit late start. Got stuck in traffic on my way home from the lunch break. So, gonna be getting it kicked off here with the common question. So, do kind of got a new theme going, and I hope you guys enjoy it because I want to do this to get a more in-depth look at the betting picks, the Fanduel picks, and then we'll get into a little bit of lineup construction as well. Then we'll close it off with the final thoughts, kind of like we typically would. So, common questions that I saw throughout the week were one, I got a lot of questions about Abraham Answer and kind of just my overall feelings on him as a play. And for me personally, for Abraham Answer, I I don't know. I just do not like his overall recent form. It had been trending in the wrong direction, I would say. And then really, that miscut kind of wasn't that shocking because he just wasn't popping that much recent form wise. You knew that he was either gonna get it together or his recent form was a sign of things to come, and that's why he missed the cut in his last event. And that's kind of the worry with him. And I just wish he was a little bit cheaper for me. Now he is a good stat rank. He's top 10 in that. Played well at this course previously as well, 18th in 2018, and then a top 2 finish last year. I don't know. I just kind of worry about him. But he's not a bad play. That's the struggle with this week is that really that high end, there's some really good plays all around. You got Scheffler, who obviously we really like. You got you got Reed, Finau. There's not really a bad option, but I just thought I would touch on the answer a little bit more because that was a common question that I had gotten this week. We do have Brian, who unfortunately couldn't watch this one, but he had some questions. So let me see. Thoughts on Seb Straka, Homa, and Hudson Swafford. So Hudson Swafford I actually don't mind as a pick. Hudson Swafford, to me, is a decent play overall. Just, I wish he was cheaper. I do. I just don't think I'll end up on him as a play just due to his price point. But you look at his yardage range from that 175 to 150, he ranks top 10 in that. That good drive percentage, he ranks top 35 in that. Ball striking top 30 in that. Everything else is not really that good, but he kind of just looks like a guy that's going to make the cut. He's made 3 out of 2 cuts here, or 2 out of 3 cuts here. Recent form has been trending in the right direction, which is what you guys would want to see. Seb Straka, I'm fine with. I think he's going to make the cut. I think he makes for an exceptional play this week, actually, at his price point. And then Max Homa, this is one of those ones where I didn't even realize he was in the field. And once again, that probably tells you all you need to know. So yeah, Max Homa wasn't popping for me. Ranks 122nd for my stat ranking. Really not ranking out well in the model because of that. 2 missed cuts here and only a top 48 finish. So yeah, this is a course where we do see a ton of high variance. So I could see it happening, but I don't like him as a play. Siwoo Kim playing okay lately. Yeah, I don't mind Siwoo Kim there. Siwoo Kim to me is a fine question in general this week. Let me pull him up on my sheet here. Pull him up. So yeah, he's fine. I feel like the price point's a little bit too much to pay up for. I got him listed as a top 40 in my model, but recent form has been trending in the right direction. He's been playing well. I wish he was a little bit cheaper, then I could play him. If he was like $400 cheaper, I would like him much better as a play, but he's not horrible. Answer a Wolf. I would favor Answer, but I'm never really on Wolf that much. He's kind of like Justin Thomas. I've said this a couple of times now where Matthew Wolff, he just never exactly pops stat fit wise, but we all know that he's a better golfer than that. And so you kind of want to take that with a grain of salt. I would favor Answer a little bit more. So just looking at Matthew Wolff, so ball striking, he ranks 167th, strokes gained to the green, 77th, strokes gained differential, 77, strokes gained putting, 57, birdie or better, 41, good drive percentage, 219, and then that 175 to 150, 49. So nothing horrible, but nothing really elite except for that good drive percentage. That's pretty bad, but yeah, I don't like Wolff as a play this week, just stat wise, but he's one of those guys where you kind of just look over the stats because you know that he's a better player than that. But I am favoring Answer. Wolff is getting talked up. Yeah, see, that's what's weird. And see, I'm more risk averse with PGA DFS because you guys all know my goals. It's just to get 6 for 6 across the cut line. To me, Wolf is not one of those players where you look at him and say, yeah, we're getting 6 for 6 across the cut line. It's the same thing with Doc Redman getting talked up as well. So I'll touch on Doc Redman too, because Wolf and Doc Redman are kind of the same thing where you're only playing these guys because, or they're only getting talked up because of their upside. They're not getting talked up because of their downside. These two players could really go off and miss the cut, and it wouldn't shock anyone. The people that are talking them up because of their high GPP upside. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying my personal strategy, has always been to try to get 6 for 6 across the cut line, target those players. They're going to help you do that. Now, Doc Redman, I don't mind. He's a top 20 stat rank, course history rank. It's 23rd because he had a 29 finish in 2019. And then model rank, he ranks 32nd. So like both those two guys, Matthew Wolff and Doc Redman, fine GPP plays, but they're plays that I just could not end up on because I like to target players that, are most likely going to make the cut or are just better plays at their price point range. And for those two, I'm not really seeing the GPP upside with them as much as I would like. And then let's see if we have any questions here. All right, what's up, Ben? Are you still high on Sam Burns? Let me check him out on Fanduel. So I do have a specific slide for Fanduel this week. I'm pretty excited to, start getting back into Fanduel on this page at least. Let me see what he's priced at on Fanduel. So Sam Burns, 10.3. Honestly, I do really like Sam Burns in general. That is where he should be priced, where Fanduel has him. And it's not that big of a difference compared to DraftKings. I mean, the numbers eye-popping, but you look at the players around him, it's not that big of a difference. So, yeah, all around, Sam Burns is just an elite play. He's I don't want to say he's the best player on the board this week, but he kind of is. He kind of is the best player on the board this week. If we just took the name off, if we slapped, I don't know, Sanjay M's name on Sam Burns, he'd be 100% owned this week, he's just that good of a play. Yes, he does have the one miscut at the Sanderson Farms, but Shriners, he played well. Houston Open, he played well. Corrales, he played well. Safeway Open, he played well. Which combo would you play, Kazire Ha or Answer Lahari? I would go Kazire Ha there. All right, so yeah, Mike's just wondering about the 9 to 5 page. Yeah. So it does go in order there. So yeah, it's just listed in order, play by play there on the player pool for the membership write up. So yeah, last week it would have went, Webb. I think it was Palmer, Grillo. So yeah, that's how it goes. And I do that in order of which way I think that they're going to make the cut. So you guys kind of get that. All right, let's get into the betting picks. Get into that, and then if you guys have questions while you're watching, definitely get those in, and I'll get those covered as well. So getting into the betting picks. So for the most part, what I like to do is just really bet the players that I'm on in my player pool, like from the core plays to the high exposure plays for the most part, because for the most part, that's why we're attacking them, and that's why we're going to be on them. I mean, it's just logical that way. And that's kind of been mimicked in kind of my betting picks for this week. So I have a decent amount of picks, and with the betting picks, you can always decide what you guys want to do with them. I know last week I had 5 of the 9 players with a chance to win on Sunday on the back 9, and none of them ended up winning, unfortunately. It was like Webb, Neiman, Russell Henley, Kazire, and then Peter Malnati. None of them ended up winning, but if you guys wanted to bet top 10s instead of that, you could do that easily. That's up to you guys. If you want to bet them outright and then potentially, cash out early, if you're given that option, you can do that. If you just want to bet them to top 40, you can do that as well. And, if you guys are just specifically focused on, making money, I would suggest doing top 40. So breaking down my key bets for this week, I do really like Sam Burns. He was at 55-1 the last time I looked. Obviously, he's my favorite play on the board this week. I would much rather bet him to win outright than I would to bet him to top 10, though. Just with those odds, it's still pretty good. And same thing kind of for John Ha. I do like him at 70-1, but I think I don't know. You can either bet him outright or, just put a lot on him to, top 20, because I feel pretty good about that. And then some other players that I liked as well were Scotty Scheffler, 17-1. I'm fine with that. I think he is like the best play this week for DraftKings. And I'm just good with it. Like, Patrick Cantlay 13-1, and you're getting Scottie Scheffler at 17-1. I like that a ton. So for me, that would be the route that I would go with specifically for outright bets. I will get into a couple of top 40 bets as well here, but I got a question in there. So Charlie, so wasn't John a core play for me? Let me just check my sheet. Yeah, he's a core play for me this week. Yep. So last week I did get off of Matthew Naismith a little bit. He was in the core plays video, and then I'm like, I had to get off of him a little bit because he was a GPP only play, and I don't want a GPP only play really as a core play. So I did end up knocking him down a little bit and only having 3 core plays last week on the 9 to 5 write up. So Cameron Davis week, huh, Jeffrey? I don't know about that. I hope so. I mean, I like Cam Davis as a play. Let me pull him up here, and then I'll get into some top 40 bets that I like. All right, give me a second. All right, so Cameron Davis. Top 30 in the model, top 40 stat rank. What are you seeing with Cam Davis? That's what I'm wondering. Is it the course history, the top 29 and top 28? Is it the, made cut at the Sony Open, top 30 there? I'm just curious as to what it is because, birdie or better percentage, are you hanging your hat on that? I could see that. Birdie or better percentage, decent price point for him as well. I could see it, but I don't know. I don't know if I would trust it. I guess that would be a much better outright bet, I guess, than it would be a DraftKings play. And that's kind of the difference between, being able to bet and just focusing on DFS because he's a little bit hit or miss for me this week. But yeah, let me get into some top 40s. They do have it. And then also just kind of throwing it out there as well. The bets and picks that I give you guys, you can bet them for like first round leader like Peter Malnati last week. If you guys want to do it, that's up to you guys. I'm just trying to give you guys the information to succeed. So one thing that surprised me was Charles Howell at 35-1, just outright wise as well. I looked at it a little bit more and I kind of get it. I do, but there are some other quality plays down there. So right now I'm just looking at top 40 bets, guys that are plus 100 or more. Emiliano Grillo, I don't mind. I expect him to make the cut. If he makes the cut, he should be able to top 40. Charlie Hoffman, same thing, plus 110. We got John Ha, who obviously I like, Patrick Kazire as well, Adam Long. Those are all plays that I think are going to make the cut. Thus, I like them as a top 40 bet because they're good stat ranks, and if they're on the player pool, they're ranking out well in the model, and if they're ranking out well in the model, they should be able to finish pretty good. So Seb Straka, you got him at 138. I'm good with him for a top 40. Peter Malnati at 164. I really do like as well. Let's see here. Any other ones that are popping? Kramer Hickok, 2-1. I'm okay with that. Austin Cook, 2.5-1. I like that. I think he'll make the cut. And if he makes the cut, obviously, you're halfway there with the top 40. And that's really where I would kind of close it off at for betting purposes. And then I know, matchup bets are kind of something people tend to do. And you can easily use the 9 to 5 player data sheet. If you guys remember, you can easily use that to just compare 2 players. You could select 2 players and compare them. And that is something I could probably do right now for you guys. I'll say that for next week's video. This week, I'm just trying to get the basis down of the style, but I'll say that for next week's video to do a specific showing on the screen. But I'll do Brian Harman and Aaron Wise because they are just there. That's what I got on DraftKings right now, sportsbook that I have pulled up. So let's see here. They're pretty much even. You got Brian Harman ranking out as the top 25 play on the model, and then you have Aaron Wise ranking out as the top 29 play. So that to me seems kind of like a stay away. Let's see one that might be obvious. Michael Thompson versus James Hahn. Let me pull that one up because James Hahn is a really good stat fit. I just want to see how he compares to Michael Thompson. And Thompson was a guy that I originally did have on the player pool as a low exposure play, and then I gave him the axe. So yeah, James Hahn ranks 31st in the model, whereas Michael Thompson ranks 64th. Now, Michael Thompson has been in good recent form, ranks 14th in the field, whereas James Hahn ranks 85th. So that is kind of where they're getting knocked. So Michael Thompson, Sensor Tournament Champions, 21st place finish, and Sony Open, 25th place finish. So not horrible. James Hahn's coming off of the miscut at the RSM Classic, and then he did have that top finish or a top 40 finish at the Sony Open. So I get that matchup bet as well. That's not a bad one. I need to find a really good one here. Let me just scroll through it. So Paul Casey versus Charles Howell. That one's interesting. So Charlie Hoffman versus Alexander Noren, and then Taylor Gooch versus Patton Kizzire. I'm going to pull up those two real quick. So we're going to start with Charlie Hoffman versus Alexander Noren. Let's see here. So Noren is just like a casual cut maker, whereas Hoffman, I don't know if you guys remember this, at the start of the year, I kind of put Charlie Hoffman down as my guy that's going to have a comeback year, because last year he kind of had a dull season, and I thought he was going to have a much better year this year. So yeah, Charlie Hoffman compared to Noren, it's really night and day. So Hoffman recent form top 20, whereas Noren is 60th stat rank. Noren's 115, whereas Charlie Hoffman's 22nd. You look at course history rank, that's the biggest difference, is that Alex Noren played here last year, had a top 15 finish, whereas Charlie Hoffman's played here 3 times, only made the cut once, and had a top 61 finish. That could be why that this matchup is on the board for us, but I think given how well Charlie Hoffman's been playing lately, I would go with him. Then the other one was Patton Kizzire and Taylor Gooch, which is kind of a similar thing. So I'll get into these, and then I'll get into some more of the questions that are up there, guys. It's loading right now for me, so give me a second. Let's see. I'll get into Charlie's question real quick while it's loading for me. Oh, it popped up. So, yeah. Patton Kizzire. That's right. So Patton Kizzire, I like him. I want him to win. He's good stat fit. All right, so Patton Kizzire versus Taylor Gooch. So Taylor Gooch ranks top 25 in the model this week, where his recent form isn't that good. Patton Kizzire ranks top 12 in the model. Taylor Gooch, course history, in 2019, a 17th place finish, and then 2018, a top 5, and then a 67th. So 3 straight make cuts. So that's what DraftKings is doing with their matchups here. They're really taking top stat rank plays and then matching them up. Top stat rank plays that have bad course history matched up with relatively decent stat rank plays, or just overall plays with really good course history. And that's what DraftKings is doing. They're kind of forcing you into chasing the stat rank plays, or unless you guys are course history truthers, then you'd want to go course history for those guys. But I like Patton Kizzire over Taylor Gooch there, although, maybe I was ignoring Taylor Gooch a little bit. He hasn't been in the best recent form, 2 missed cuts in a row. But decent course history, decent stat rank, top 10, so not bad there as well. All right, let me get into the questions here, get caught up. Oh, dude, you played PGA West? That's pretty awesome. Greens were incredibly fast. No, I don't. So just wondering, do you stay away from a player with the greens being fast? Do you stay away from those poor putters? So no, I think players can adjust to it eventually. Like, they are pro golfers. We know that. And I don't know, I like to relate to me as a golfer too. Sometimes for me, the easier greens are the ones that are a little bit faster. And maybe that's something I can start including on the 9 of 5 page here. It's not a bad idea to do like the stim rating or whatever for the greens. I could start including that possibly to see which players play well on slow and fast greens. That's not a bad idea. I might have to do that. That'll take a little bit. That's a lot of research to go back and reference and whatnot, but I think that could be useful. But yeah, I don't really see a big difference there for those guys. If the greens play fast, they play fast. That's just how it is. They have a practice round to get used to it. They should be able to get used to it. We know they're poor putters already, so that's just kind of, it is what it is. Now, if they were like massive greens, then yeah, I would probably worry about it a little bit, but I'm not that worried. If they're link style greens, I'd probably worry about it a little bit, just because then you're bringing a lot more 3-putts, where this, I'm just not. Hey, thanks, Emily. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming and watching too, by the way. What are your thoughts on Ha and James Hahn? So I like both of them. John Ha, he's a core play for me this week. Just a strong play overall, and I'll touch on him right now as well. I thought he was a good bet, to be honest with you guys. So 70-1 is when I saw him. I'm not sure if he is still that for like an outright bet, but just in general, his course history rank is not the best. It's 48th, but he has made 3 straight cuts in a row at this course, which is something that you want to see. I always talk about my 3 rules of 30. Well, he's made 3 straight cuts here, and he did have a top 30 finish in there, finishing 3rd in 2017. Recent form-wise, his recent form has been spectacular. A top 20 finish at Mokoba, and then a top 12 at the RSM Classic. That is something you guys want to see. And then stat-wise, 45th in ball striking, top 40 in strokes gained tee to green, Brady or better percentage, and then top 15 in strokes gained differential, and good drive percentage. So yeah, John Ha, just, I can't not play him at that price point. And then James Hahn, I didn't mention him in passing a little bit there as well with the matchups, but he is a top 11 stat rank. The problem with him is his course history has been descending, where he missed the cut last year, had a 57th place finish in 2018, and then in 2017, a 36th place finish. So not that good. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. My bad, Charlie. I'll get back into that. But yeah, James Hahn, recent form-wise, 41st, and then a missed cut. I'm fine with him as a play. You know, he's a good stat rank if you guys want to chase that upside in an event where you typically do need some more variance because it is a high variance event. I'm fine with James Hahn. I wouldn't say he's a pivot from John Ha because I just think he's that good of a play. But you could play both of them and really try to fit in 2 of the studs that you think are going to have a good week. All right, so getting into his question. So Peter Malnati and Ha are priced 100 apart on Fanduel. I would still play John Ha there for sure. Peter Malnati, I don't mind as a play, but to me, he seems more of a GPP play. And John Ha, he's checking all the boxes. I can't ignore someone that's checking all the boxes. Whereas Peter Malnati, he's not exactly checking all the boxes. Course history wise, it's been rough. You know, 2 made cuts and really only 1 good finish here in the last 4 years. The top 18 finish in 2018. That's it with him. Other than that, you know, miscut in 2018, miscut in 2017, and in 2016, 77th, which not really that good. Recent form wise, he's been fine. He did have that miscut at the Mokoba, but you know, Sony Open, 14th place finish, RSM made cut as well. So I am favoring John Ha there instead of Peter Malnati. So if I had to choose between the 2, it would be John Ha. What are your thoughts? Or Harry Hall, any thoughts on him? So I typically like to stay away from the Korn Ferry Tour players, especially at events like this. That kind of goes back to the theme for me of, you know, I like to go with players that I can kind of predict are going to make the cut. And for me, with him, he's just not that. But if you're a little bit more of a risky player, you can go ahead and play him. I'm not saying it's a bad play. I'm just saying it's not someone I really want to go out of my way to get. From the stats that we do have from him, I think it's like maybe 4 rounds. He's not a good stat rank. He ranks 79th. But once again, that's not like really any significant data that we got there. All right, so let me get into the FanDuel picks, and then we'll do a little bit of lineup construction talk as well. All right, so getting into FanDuel specifically. So the thing I like about FanDuel is you can really normally fit in one more stud on there than you could DraftKings, but it typically does lead you to be a little bit more risky. So you can fit Patrick Cantlay, you can fit Scotty Scheffler in there, and then you could go with like Sam Burns, or you could go with like John Ha. And then let's see, average salary remaining is $9K still. So I got the 4 players that I really want to go out on my way to fit in there. And I still have $9K left over for the rest of the players that I could, possibly use. And that's really going to be where you guys see fit. Now you could go with someone like Patton Kizzire as well, who, most likely should make a cut. You could do that. Or you could go with like Charles Howell, who just all around, he seems like a decent play. He's 9.6 on FanDuel. I'm fine with that. And then you're left with like 8.4. Let's find someone at 8.4 potentially that we could see making the cut. Oh, Matthew Naismith, he's 8.5. I don't mind Matthew Naismith. Once again, with FanDuel, I typically like to be a little bit more risky. Bring in a potential miscut to really lock in, I guess, 5 made cuts is kind of my normal strategy. But Hudson Swafford at 8.3, I don't mind. Let's see here. Kramer Hickok at 8.1, I don't mind. Doug Gim, Austin Cook at 7.9 to me is very interesting. He's made 5 out of 7 cuts on the season. And, he's just not bad. RSM Classic, he had 1 bad round. Round 2, missed the cut, but before that, T24 and T2. So Austin Cook at 7.9. It's a play that I do think will make the cut, and I don't mind it then. Let's see here. Jim Herman is casually popping as well if you're really trying to find a deep dive for Fanduel. He's made his last 4 cuts technically, but 2 of them were no cut events, but still top 30 at the RSM Classic, and then a T32 at the Sony Open. That's pretty good. That is not bad at all. So I don't mind him. So yeah, I don't mind going Jim Herman, honestly. So just looking at Fanduel, Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns, John Huh, Jim Herman at 7.5, and then you could really pay up for another stud in there. Let's see. You can go Patton Kizzire, Paul Casey. Cameron Champ. I'm 100 off of Cameron Champ. That hurts. That would have been nice because I do still really like Cameron Champ. Let's see. We'll go Kizzire, and then we'll get off of Jim Herman here. And then 8.1. 8.1, I don't know. We'd have to go like Kramer Hickok. But yeah, that's the thing about Fanduel is that you really can, fit in 5 quality plays. Like I got a lineup in here that I feel pretty good about with Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns, John Hutt, and Patton Kizzire. That's not bad. Good Yahoo picks. Hey, what's up, Grizz? So yeah, on Yahoo, there's a ton of great picks. I believe John Hutt was min priced. I believe Patton Kizzire was min priced. I believe Peter Malnati was like 25. So just right off the bat, you got like 3 really good quality plays. And then I forget what Sam Burns was priced at. I think he was pretty cheap as well. So you could really, on Yahoo this week, you could really lock in like 5 of the 6 like top stat rank plays just because they did a bad job. They mispriced some players that they shouldn't have. So yeah, Yahoo, you can really get away with a lot. But Fanduel wise, I'm trying to find like a really bad mispriced play. I would say John Hutt is the most mispriced play so far. I don't mind Cameron Tringale for GPP upside. Peter Malnati at 8.7 on Fanduel is intriguing. I don't mind that actually. So you could go Peter Malnati. Let's see what I can do with this. So I'm just looking at a build with Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns, John Huh, and then Peter Malnati right now. I'm trying to close it out. Like maybe Joel Damon, maybe Cameron Tringale, Charlie Hoffman. Got 400 left over, so that's not a bad build. That's not Cantlay, Scheffler, Burns, Huh, Hoffman, Malnati for a Fanduel build. I think that's pretty solid there. You're getting 5 players in the top 12 for stat rank, and then you're getting Charlie Hoffman as well, so not bad. Yeah, so I don't mind Russell Henley. I do worry about his course history. That has been a worry, but he is a really strong stat rank, so I don't mind Russell Henley. It is a week where you do have to be a little bit more risky, so I get it. And then, yeah, Russell, I don't know. So this tournament is going to play a little bit different. It's maybe this could be something I'd look at as well. It's like how players play in a Pro-Am event versus how they play not at a Pro-Am event. Like how do their scores reflect those rounds where they had to play with someone compared to when they don't play with someone? Because maybe that has been Russell Henley's problem, is that he just hasn't liked his playing partners at the Pro-Ams and whatnot. I don't know. I think that'd be something interesting to look at, but obviously you're only getting 2 rounds instead of 3 for the cut, and I think that is something noteworthy for players that have missed a cut because the dynamic of the tournament is going to change a little bit. But yeah, I don't mind Henley as a GPP play. Definitely can't play him in cash. But that's kind of the theme of this week, is that if someone was a good stat rank this week, it really seemed like they didn't have strong course history here. Like there's very few people checking all the boxes. It's really like Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, Sam Burns, John Hutt, and then, that's pretty much it. And even Sam Burns had a missed cut in his last 3 starts, so he's not even checking all the boxes as well. So that is weird. And we have kind of segued into lineup construction a little bit, but let's talk about DraftKings specifically here. So let me know if you guys have any like price point questions that you are having with your lineup construction, if you've ended up on a certain price point range. Because for me, I I'm thinking about starting a segment where I do like shoulder shrug plays of the week, because a lot of the times when you're doing your lineup construction, you'll end up on a price point range that you need to find a play. And a lot of the times there's just a play where you're not exactly on, but you think they'll make the cut, and you just kind of go like, that's good enough. I think he'll make the cut, and you just finish out your build. And so kind of with that this week is that I ended up on Paul Casey the most out of anyone. His price point range I've ended up on far more than any other price point range. So he would be, quote unquote, my shoulder shrug play of the week. 3 straight make cuts in a row. We know Paul Casey is a good player. Now, he hasn't exactly played well stat fit wise recently, but some of those stats are from the US Open and the Masters, which we know are tougher courses. So it's a little bit skewed, I guess. And one of his missed cuts were at the Shriners, which was a low scoring event. And obviously, this is going to be a low scoring event as well. So that is a little bit of a worry, but I don't know. I just keep ending up on him, and I'm kind of just like, that's good enough. I see here Adam Long as well in that same price point range. Keep ending up on him. Don't mind him. He's actually been in good recent form. T11, T30, and T3 in his last 3 starts. That's not bad at all. So keep ending up on him as well. Kevin Na, or no, I'm not on Kevin Na this week. I typically don't like to play a guy after he wins. And we kind of saw that last week with Harris English. He had a much, struggled a lot more last week than, he probably would have if he didn't end up winning. I don't know. There's just a mental aspect to winning, I think, where it kind of just your mind's a little bit freed a little bit. You're not as geared up for each shot. You're not concentrating as much for each shot as you typically would for some reason. And obviously in golf, that does start to add up. I saw infamous. I saw that with Kevin Herter. That is actually pretty funny. Yeah, I think they flipped their 2 numbers there. I think it's supposed to be like 5.9, but that's funny. We haven't really seen that for golf in a while, where Fanduel typically would do that a lot, where they would really mess up a price point. And I think they did that someone recently. Was it Ryan Moore recently, or forget who it was? Somewhat recently they did a really strong play where they mispriced him, like at the min price on Fanduel. But yeah, we typically don't see that in NBA at all, and that's a very strange thing for DraftKings to do. That's funny. 30 on the mark on Yahoo. I forget who's at the 30 price point range there, Grizz, on Yahoo. I don't have it pulled up right now, but I know Malnati's at like 25. I don't mind him specifically for Yahoo. But honestly, do studs and scrubs on Yahoo. That's the lineup path to go with. And, this week for DraftKings, just talking about lineup construction a little bit more, I have been able to fit like 2 studs pretty easily, and then kind of going from there. I think in cash, I do think that 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 6 is going to be the norm, where I think if you get 4 out of 6 on your cash build, you still can cash in cash contest. Like, I'm fine with that. So if you guys really do want to chase like some upside plays like Patrick Cantlay or Scotty Scheffler, or if you guys do like Matthew Wolff or Patrick Reed or Tony Finau or whatever, you could play 2 of those guys and then play 2 of the other guys that you're really confident in that are going to make the cut. Kind of schedule in 4 made cuts, and then you're scheduling in kind of 2 missed cuts because you're pulling in a little bit more value. So for example, I could do just, I don't know, once again, Patrick Cantlay, we'll do Scotty Scheffler, we'll do Sam Burns because everyone knows I like him, and then John Ha. So there we already are getting, on paper, 4 made cuts, which I think, given the upside that these players have, is going to be enough. Then from there, what can you do? Well, I don't mind Charles Howell, but, that'd be a guy that should make the cut. But from there, you really are bringing in like potentially 2 missed cuts. But why not just like put a really cheap value in there, like Austin Cook, who might make the cut, he might not make the cut. You go with like Jim Herman, Doug Gim, whatnot. You could do something like that, and then you're left at a price point that you don't feel that good about, but you are going to be chasing someone like Peter Malnati, who should make the cut, Kevin Streelman, who should make the cut, James Hahn, who should make the cut. But by kind of locking in 4 made cuts and then chasing the upside with the players that you're on, like Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, those guys should probably top 10. Sam Burns, if he's playing well, should probably top 10. So I don't mind that approach. I don't recall seeing any weather issues for this. Let me just look it up while I'm live right now. I know that one of their practice rounds it was pretty windy, and they didn't. Some of the players didn't go out, but I didn't see anything too crazy weather-wise. But let me look it up. So I know a lot of the times people will comment on like grass greens, like which one or how much that affects a certain putter, but I really think that looking at the stem meter, the length of the greens is more significant. So I really do like that idea that was kind of proposed here in this video. That might be something I need to go to backtrack because I think that's the biggest difference to me is slow greens versus fast greens, whatnot. I think that might be something I add to the 9 to 5 page. So whether I got it pulled up, yeah, it doesn't look like anything crazy. Might rain on Wednesday evening, which might soften the greens for Thursday morning. So if you're playing a showdown slate, probably favor the Thursday AM tee times, which you typically always should anyways. But yeah, wind's not going to be a factor. Other than that, that's about it. So yeah, Thursday morning might play a little bit easier just because the grounds will be a little bit more damp. They won't be firm. You'll be able to control the ball a lot more. Yeah, I don't mind Emiliano Grillo. I think he'll make the cut this week. I'm fine with Grillo. He makes sense. He's a good stat fit as well. All right, but let's get into the final thoughts here. Let's get into the final thoughts here. So really to me, just in closing, this is kind of going to be the segment I have going forward with this is how I feel about the week, just closing it out. So final thoughts this week is that it's not one we should overly attack. It's not one where we should really be playing a ton in cash. But at the same time, it is a high variance week, so maybe that makes cash easier. It's one of those weird things where the amount of 6-for-6 lineups should be really small. It should be like that Shriners tournament where it was extremely low scoring, which made it a lot harder to predict because these are professional golfers. They can all go on and score on an easy track. It's just a matter of which player is playing good enough, I guess. Like none of them are going to really play bad. We're not going to have that many bad plays at all this week, most likely, because most of them are probably going to shoot under par, and there'll be one or two off the cut line if they do miss the cut. And that's the problem with the low scoring week is that it's more about being most correct than it is not being wrong, I guess, if that makes sense. Like the Shriners, we had a bunch of players that missed the cut, like at -6, I think it was. I forget. I think the cut ended up being like -7. We had a bunch of players at -6. Like they didn't play bad that week. They just didn't play good enough to make the cut. And like at an extremely low scoring event like this, there's just higher variance. So just had that factored in. If you guys are max entering, if you guys are using the lineup tool, maybe factor in a little bit more variance than you typically would. Spread the ownership out a little bit more for GPPs and cash. I probably wouldn't go too crazy, but I might schedule in a miscut there. All right, so we've got a couple questions here, and then I'm just gonna be closing it up. So, yeah, I mean, you favor the early, but yeah, Nicholas Course. I don't know. It's tougher this week because in years past you just like target the La Quinta course for a showdown slate, but with it only being 2 courses, you just really want to attack the players that are in the best spots. For the Thursday morning. That's kind of how I'd roll with it. But yeah, definitely you want to be attacking the Thursday morning guys for sure. I haven't looked at the pin placements though to see like if the Nicholas course or if the PGA West is going to play easier for round 1 to round, well, they don't come out with it round 2, but for round 1 that could make a difference. They could try to make one course play a little bit tougher than the other, but obviously they have to be in the same spots, I guess, for round 2. So we would kind of know what to expect for round 2 then. But that is all I have for you guys for this live stream. Next week, I'm going to try to go live on Twitter as well during this live stream. So we'll see kind of how that goes. I'm not sure. Well, it'll be the first time I've done that in years, have a multi-stream going on Twitter and YouTube as well. So that'll be fun to do. But check out 9 to 5. I'm going to be finishing up some updates here probably in the next week to add a little bit more data on there. We're going to have like a key stat page on the 9 to 5 page. It'll be kind of just a blanket key stat page, or total stat page, I should say. All the key stats that you'd want to look at, like from total driving to scrambling, from ball striking to recovery shots. So there's going to be a lot of data on there that, maybe if you guys kind of want to do it yourself, you could sort by that. So that'll be something I'm adding on there. And I will be adding on like a specialist page here in the next couple of weeks as well, which will give you guys a breakdown of how a player typically performs at a certain event, whether that's a, course design, like Pete Dye course, you could look at that, or green type, or in certain weather conditions as well. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know most of you guys already liked and subscribed, so I appreciate that. If you guys haven't joined 9 to 5 Nation and you want to, the link will be in the description below. Have a lot of new tools out there for 9 to 5. It is $10 a month. I think it's the best value in PGA DFS. At least that's my goal. So, if you guys want to, you can